A very good morning, all of you, and welcome. I'm Prachi Pasalkar. On behalf of Pune Knowledge Cluster and Indian Academy of Sciences, I welcome all of you to the seventh lecture of the Science and Technology @75 lecture series, which Pune Knowledge Cluster has been running. This is to celebrate the 75th year of India's independence. And we are very happy to have with us today Professor Dilip Kanhere. And I will request Professor Ajit Kembavi, who is the principal investigator of Pune Knowledge Cluster and former director of Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, which is in Ayuka, to kindly introduce Professor Kanhere. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prachi. Good morning, namaskar. I'm very happy to welcome all of you to this webinar today. This is a series of webinars that we are organizing by fellows of the Indian Academy of Sciences who are mostly located in Pune. Most of the webinars so far have been on direct science topics, but when I requested Professor Kanhere to give a talk, he said that he will do it on the theme of building a science park. So he has been very closely associated with the Savitibai Phule Pune University Science Park, and in general, the development of science outreach in this university. And I thought that this would be a very interesting theme for a talk. I know Professor Kanhere, who is a distinguished physicist, at least from the end of 1989. We perhaps even met before that. And he and I have worked together on many fronts. And in particular, we were both very deeply involved in providing internet connectivity to all the universities in the country and access to scientific and other literature. Now, it's completely ridiculous if we say that providing the internet took a big project, but Professor Arun Nigwekar, who was the vice chancellor, who was the chairman of the University Grants Commission, set it up. Said, let us do the project, and that is how the internet first became accessible to the universities, which is a fact which is generally not known. Now, Professor Kanhere, he is presently a distinguished professor and coordinator, Center for Science, Education and Communication of the Pune University and SPPU. He was for very long there a professor of physics, during which he had done a great deal of distinguished work. He did his PhD from the Indian Institute of Technology in Kanpur on computational condensed matter physics. So those were the old days, and doing things computationally was not very fashionable at the time. And I myself started using computers only much later in life. And but he already did work in computational condensed matter physics. Then he joined the university as a lecturer, and his major contribution in the early years was to bring a culture of computerization to the university and also introducing it to the classes and generally make it known that the future is in the direction of computerization. This was again not a thought which was universally appreciated until just a few decades ago. Then he has since then been a strong motivating factor in the continuing growth of information and communication technology, which we call ICT, culture and infrastructure. So he has made significant contributions to parallel and high performance computing activities, the establishment of state-of-the-art optic fiber-based campus-wide lab, and the establishment of several HPC facilities. So he has also been involved in the formation of the Interdisciplinary School of Scientific Computing, Center for Network Computing, and a multidisciplinary Center for Modeling and Simulation. So he has received the UGC Meghnad Saha Award for Theoretical Sciences in 2003, and a senior associate of the in Trieste, the Abdul Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy. And of course, his very presence today as a speaker means that he's a fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences. Now, in all this, I have not really told you about his specific scientific contributions to physics, and I request him before he begins his talk proper to give a very, very short summary of what kind of physics that he has been working in through his very long and distinguished career. So, Professor Kanhere.
Thank you, Ajit. You will not see my beautiful face. Let it be that way. It's much better that way. I must thank Pune Knowledge Cluster and my friend Ajit for giving me this opportunity to speak on something which I have been deeply involved for the last 7 years or so. I'm at Savitibai Phule Pune University, and Ajit gave a very formal introduction, which is very unlike we are friends for a long, long time now. We must have fought also long time along the way. And since he suggested that I give a short introduction, very short actually, to what my physics contribution was or is, I'll just give 2 minutes on that without slides. It was somewhat unexpected. Apart from, of course, saying it's a computational condensed matter physics, the contribution is in a broad area called density functional theory. Basically, it's applications of the electronic structure theory to a variety of topics in physics. What we essentially look at is properties of solids, properties of finite size system like clusters, surfaces, interfaces, and so on and so forth, by examining very detailed and microscopic behavior of interacting electrons. In fact, the entire physics of most of these things is because of very intricate way interacting electrons behave and respond. My main area was for quite some time physics of clusters, and clusters are very easy to understand. It's a collection of 15, 20 atoms, 100 atoms, 200 atoms put together, and they behave in a very strange way. And I will just end by saying one strange way which clusters you can make them melt by actually heating it. Technically speaking, it's difficult, but it can be done. It turns out that some of the clusters melt at a temperature which is higher than the bulk melting temperature. We all understand what melting means. A cluster of finite size having a large surface area melting at a temperature which is much higher than bulk is a very strange phenomenon. It's counterintuitive for many reasons. One of the contributions that our group made is to understand the mechanism of why it happens and where it will be useful, and exploring the physics of that. I think I will hold on to it. We did work on strongly correlated systems, magnetism, and so on and so forth, but that's not the topic of today's talk. So let me go ahead with the permission of the chair to building science park that is creating exploratory space. This is a journey of about 7 years or so. That's interesting. I'm going to the next slide, and let me see if this way it will work. Yes, it does. So building science park, I must make sure that this doesn't, okay. I can still, not that.
Yes, sir, we can see
about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when I rejoined university as a distinguished professor, in many talks, I thought with the Vice Chancellor and others, I thought we should do something for the school children. This was essentially because Professor V.G. Bide, who have a beautiful laboratory, a school here in the city long back, used to talk to us about how inspiring it should be to the school children to do science through experiential learning. In the younger days, we didn't pay much attention, but then I realized how his thought was very fundamental. So we said, all right, on the university campus, we'll build something similar. And that's what I started doing with the help of my colleagues. And let's go. So I'm going to take you to tour of this, what we have built in about 6-7 years or so. It's mostly going to be pictorial, as well as I will show some movies about what we have. And it's a journey I think you will enjoy. Do ask your questions. The whole focus in last 6 years has been on school children, 4th, 5th standard to 10th, 11th, 12th, and making this innovative space available to them for explorations of variety of kind. Let's see what we have built and what do we do. So we started in the beginning of October 2014 on a small space of 150 square feet, which was my lab. Then now we have managed, after 7 years of pursuing university, they were very kind to get a space of about 15,000 square feet, whose pictures I am showing, where we are shifting in another 2 weeks or so. This is a 2-story building, specially designed for Science Park, having many facilities which currently we do not have, including classrooms, open spaces, terraces for design. This couldn't have been done without a team of very dedicated my co-workers, and these are the current ones. On the left, photographs are there. And the earlier team, the names I have mentioned, I'm not going to read through all, except to say only 2 things. I must mention the contribution of 2 people who have been with me since the day Science Park started. One is Harshada. He is a physicist, a PhD in physics. The other one is Rohit Tamboli. Rohit Tamboli left, of course, a year and a half ago, but he has contributed substantially. Now I have a much younger team also, and they come from all areas: physics, chemistry, microbiology, environmental science, zoology, botany, so on and so forth. We even have, at the middle of that, is Renuka Poddar, who is not from science, but she's an artist, and she has contributed immensely to design of many of our artifacts. We also have support from computer science, and must also mention on the right, about 2 years ago, we were given a project by Government of Maharashtra, Forestry Department of Forestry, to build a similar science park at the cost of about 4 crores. And now we have started this science park. That's the picture of science park. I think it will take another 6 months to be fully operative. We are to, except building, we are to design, build, implement and run this show there. And all the equipment is right there now. We have a staff of 4 there, and whole thing will be operative soon. This is the grant from Government of Maharashtra. That's the recognition of. We have, of course, activity partners, as the fashion has it. You say activity partners, and that's Leela Poonawalla Foundation and many others. Special mention, of course, of Leela Poonawalla, YK Vijay, Pradeep Agashe, and Ayuka. We have been associated with them for a long time on many of the activities. We also should be grateful to the support of the Vice Chancellor, the present Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Registrar, the ex-Vice Chancellor Gade, where it all started. And a special mention of my colleagues from various departments, especially Professor Zog, Professor Gunale, Professor Devpurkar, and Gosavi. Professor Zog, Gunale, and Devpurkar are with us right from the day 1. and they continue to support in spite of their retirement, 10th year of retirement. Now let's go ahead. We have theme-based experimental laboratories, essentially life science, physical sciences, chemistry, mathematics, and computing. And everywhere you will see we have shows, models, demo exhibits, kits, hands-on experiments. That's a year-round activity. I have a hobby workshop. We have built a hobby workshop where we have a 3D printer working, several workshop tools which are normally not available. So there's a nice tabletop wood and metal lathes. Actually, it's fascinating to see that it is to be handled, and students are supposed to handle it in 8, 9, 10 standard with all the required safety measures. There are many cutting tools, shaping tools, there are electronic kits, there's a library, and all this is focused again so that a training could be given with a hands-on experience, including workshop tools, things built with your own hands. I'll show you the pictures of this. This is again for this school children. We have this workshop almost ready. Our main activities, hands-on training sessions. That simply means these sessions go on throughout the year, once a week for 2 hours, specifically for each standard. And everything that is taught here is not taught, and I emphasize it, not taught only using, rarely using board, but using various kits and experiments, question and answer sessions, and so on and so forth. We cover something like 3/4 of or most of their syllabus in each of the subject, but in a very different way. Science camps, competitions, art and science included. We have NGO types. Skywatch is essentially with the Ayuka's cooperation. They have suggested us many things, and we keep on doing those activities, including telescopes, which they have kindly suggested us and we have purchased. Life science, let's have a look at life science. And we begin, of course, with 2 beautiful models. These models have been, of course, designed by us, built by us. Pune has that facility. This is an about 8 feet microscope on the left. And that's very nice. And what is the life is on the right-hand side. That's a model of DNA. We are building now interactive model built on, based on this static structure. This is a structure. We'll see functionality coming in next 6 months or so. The models help in understanding minute details of various parts of, for example, microscope. We of course have normal microscopes. There are very good quality microscopes and a special HD camera which can be attached to the microscope. And I will show you a small film where people have used the HD, people mean students again, to film microscopic behavior, motion of what happens in the water. I'm going to begin, we started in fact with the environment. So I'm going to begin with a film called Neil's Dream. It's all about ecosystem. The idea, and that is what we use to teach aquatic ecosystem interactively while the film is on. So of course, film is long, it's about 14 minutes, but I have only a minute of short. You may sound maybe a little less, but go on. This is professionally made, designed by us. Sound is on the campus.
Wow, beautiful. World.
Once again, our pond, filmed by using underwater camera.
I am feeling cold.
Well, my friend, it's all I eat insects. The insects eat tiny organisms.
Oh, it's like a chain.
I eat insects, so now I'm a predator. And when I am eaten up by the birds or snakes, I am a prey.
What do the microscopic organisms eat? And can they prepare their own food?
These microscopic animals are zooplanktons, and they move with water currents. They cannot make their own food, and thus they eat food-producing organisms. Ribbit, ribbit. Let us see what is an energy pyramid.
Wow, a pyramid!
Hey, this is a different pyramid. An energy pyramid is a graphical way of showing energy flow. An system is very fragile and sensitive to changes. Disturbance of one component disturbs the entire system and the food chain.
I'm really very sorry.
So that was the film on our pond. We use it for teaching. Now this is another one. This is a model of tree that we built about 8 feet or so. And in order to teach habitat, we use this, again, a short clip. This is a show of 10 to 12 minutes. You will see probably minute and a half or even less. Just a jhalak of glimpses of what.
Hello, मित्रांनो.
This is in Marathi. That's okay.
मला तर तुम्ही ओळखताच, पण मी कोणाकोणासाठी घर असतो हे माहितीये का तुम्हाला? ती ढोली दिसतेय तुम्हाला? हे बघा, माझ्या ढोलीत हे घुबड कसं पेंगतय. मित्रांनो, सांगा बरं, कशा करता हे जाळं विणलं असेल? या मोठ्या पोळ्याला जायंट बूट स्पायडर म्हणतात. आणि हा जाळ्यात कीटकांना पकडून त्यांना खातो. किती सुरेख आहे नाही हे जाळं? अरे, हा आवाज कोण करतोय बरं? हा तर सुतार पक्षी. थोडं वर बघा, तिकडे खोडावर बसलाय. तिथेच. त्याची चोच बघितलीत का?
Right. So what usually happens is the students are shown this about 10-15 students. Whenever we want, we can stop the show. They ask questions. Then we take them to a standard classroom and sorry. It's inspiring to do it this way rather than tell them about the habitat. As you will see, this is another one, a model again developed by us. And let me show you this.
This is termite hill. It shows the eusocial behavior of termites and division of labor.
Okay, so these are now going to be short one. This is again about 10 minutes or so. And well, let's go ahead. These models have been developed after some discussion by a team and built by artists, or we go outside and get it built. Either way it works. These are all LED enhanced, and the show runs on its own. Again, a number of people around them with a teacher telling something. Okay, now let's go and see some exhibits that we have. These are either models. Let's see what. All right. So you see zooplankton and phytoplankton models on the left and on the right. The right is very peculiar. These are actually tiles, and we thought we'll have a wall of such things. And this is the representative tiles with the texture and the color that you see through microscope. Faithfully reproduced. It took some time. Similarly, on the left is resin based kind of 3D pictures, and it's very easy for them to identify when they see things through microscope. This is phytoplankton and zooplankton. That's the movie I just you have shown this. That's the movie taken by students from our microscope using HD camera. There's a whole few minutes, mini clips saying life in the drop of water. And they actually go, that's a part of project. They actually go to various places from ponds, pick up water, bring into under microscope and record a movie. That's a Spirogora on the right hand side, and so on and so forth. So this is a part of the teaching that they have in 5th, 6th, 7th standard somewhere, and it's very interesting to see how bread mold is seen through microscope. These are the, again, developed by us. Nitrogen cycle happens to be an interesting piece because that occupies a good volume in the textbook. Instead of telling what the cycle is, we have actually a rotating model, again LED enhanced, and explanation given about the 5 aspect stages of the cycle. Yes. Occasionally, more than occasionally, I must say, I have Mrs. Kanhere, who is an environmental scientist, a PhD in similar area. So many times she sits near me and corrects me. So these are called stages. And many times she identifies Spirogyra or whatever I'm not familiar with. Planktons, large slides of 7 different planktons. Again, we have it. Several models of this kind. You see cells, both animal cell as well as plant cell. And they're scaled up. Every piece that you see inside can be taken out. And these are not just, this is a 3D picture again made by our artist, but the 3D models. And students can take away, identify, place it again, and so on and so forth. So it's very useful to teach structure of cell. Yes. Sometimes we use games. Is a vitamin wheel. There at the bottom you see a model of ant, which is about 3 feet by 2.5 feet, and this goes with the explanations of many things, but it's very useful. The frog that you see is not just a frog. You can carry out dissection on that, because you cannot use live ones anyway. Similarly, the picture of flower, you can take away things. These are interactive exhibits with the left one and the right one. The left one tells you about good microorganisms on your body. The right one is a digestive system. I will show you a movie on that after some time. Now, some behavioral aspects in the sense how birds develop their beaks, and so खाण्याच्या सोयीनुसार पक्ष्यांच्या चोचीचे विविध आकार. The shapes of bird beaks depends on what they eat. So there are you can see 2 different things, and how niche develops so far as their eating and feeding habits and are developed. So this is I think both the things are available. You can buy it. We got it. So far, most of the things that we showed, we developed, but many of these things are available. Now you'll see some things which you can buy off the shelf. So then, of course, you discuss why beaks develop the way they develop and how they are related to their food habits. This is a recurring theme. Our body happens to be actually taking a lot of space in their text, and it's very important from 5th standard onwards. I will show you, right, that's a small movie which we use.
So
this
this
model
is the
very
actual
nice.
size model of human torso. This model is helpful in understanding the positioning of the organs inside our body. So students can interact with this model because all of its parts can be removed and placed again at their respective positions. Similarly, we have other models to display the anatomical structures such as brain, ear, heart, and kidneys.
I must say that almost all models that we have, these are all purchased and then experience enhanced by us by adding interactive LED lights and some kind of a game to identify, for example, the functioning of heart, how blood flows, and so on and so forth. I will show you some movie on that. Let's see what we have next.
So this is the actual
Right. So you can see various parts of a body. These are all life size, and students are allowed to handle them. So they come close, they ask questions, they so on and so forth. Joints, several, in fact, almost all the joints are here and in the detail. And the joints that you see on the right can be moved in the sense that you can actually play with it and see how the muscles stretch. And that's very useful. So the nature of the joint is made clear to them. You can see lungs, heart, brain, and they're very useful. They can be open, and students really enjoy playing with it. That's a very simple bottle base. It's available on YouTube, a model of how lungs, how we breathe. And it's some of these, but the middle one is actually made by our students in a workshop from simple things. More models on eye. In fact, the eye, we have several models of eye. In one of the model, which is very interesting, you can actually pour water and distort it and see how images form inside. And what are the different defects that are developed because of the distortion. The skin is on the right hand side, the ear here shown. Let's go ahead. Now that's a movie, and I will show you that. This in fact is the exhibit we made, and the students really enjoy.
This is digestive system. ही आहे पचन संस्था. Let us see how food is traveling through digestive system. बघूयात तर अन्नाचा प्रवास पचन संस्थेतून कसा कसा होतोय ते. ह्या आहेत लाळ ग्रंथी. These are salivary glands. The food is being chewed in the mouth. अन्न आपल्या तोंडामध्ये चावले जात असताना या लाळ ग्रंथीतून काही विशिष्ट एन्झाइम्स सिक्रेट होतात. दिस इज इसोफेगस. आता फूड बघूयात आपण कुठे आलंय ते. हे आलंय ह्या अन्न नलिकेत. दिस इज फूड ट्रॅव्हलिंग थ्रू इसोफेगस. नाउ फूड विल गो इन स्टमक and churning will happen here.
Right. So this continues, of course, and so one more, and that's what students enjoy again. Let's see.
This is the
This
actual
is done in the
human
dark.
skeleton. As we all know, skeleton is the framework of human body. So we use this skeleton to demonstrate the functions and structure of human bones.
That's a show of about 9 minutes, explaining and depicting each and every bone. There are 206 of them, real life, and that's interesting. Let's see what happens. There is a movie, I think. Yes.
These are the models of human fetus inside uterus, showing the development during first 9 months.
Actually, very interestingly, the students spend a lot of time around it, kind of looking at them and then asking some questions. They have to be prodded, but they really like this piece. This is something which is spatial and which we are yet developing, and the exhibit is not yet ready. On the left, you see two organs, two sets of organs. They are actually mounted on a 6 feet high. It's a tall one. 3D models of lungs, heart, kidney on the right, and a precision projected 3-projector animation film is projected on each of them in order to make the effect of the circulation and so on and so forth it becomes very enhanced. So the teaching becomes very easy. I will show you the movie which is professionally created from an outside source on the right hand side, but this is to be projected on this, so that would take probably another month or so. A piece of that, half a minute or so.
मित्र मैत्रिणींनो,
Marathi.
बरं तुम्ही आलात. मगाच पासून मी जरा कोड्यात पडलोय की हे समोर दिसतंय ते माणसाचं शरीर आहे का झाड. तुम्हाला काय वाटतंय? बघा, जरा विचार करा. अरे चा, ही आपल्या शरीरातली कोणती संस्था तर नाही ना? आपल्याला माहितच आहे, शरीराला रक्त पुरवठा करणारा अवयव म्हणजे हृदय. रक्ताभिसरण संस्थेत सर्वात महत्वाचं म्हणजे हृदय, मग त्यावरती दिसणारी फुफ्फुस, पचन संस्थेला जोडले गेलेले यकृत, मूत्रपिंड, उरलेलं दिसणारं सगळं जाळं हे रक्ताभिसरण संस्थेचं. बाप रे, म्हणजे हे शरीरात स्निग्ध पदार्थ वाढले की ते रक्तवाहिन्यांच्या आतल्या भिंतीलगत जमा होतात. त्यामुळे रक्त प्रवाहाला अडथळा निर्माण होतो आणि रक्तदाब वाढतो. कोरोनरी आर्टरीज हृदयाच्या स्नायूंना रक्त पुरवण्याचं काम करतात. ह्या वाहिन्यांमध्ये कोलेस्ट्रॉलचे थर जमू लागल्यास अडथळा निर्माण होऊन हृदय विकाराचा झटका येतो.
Right. So again, I would like to emphasize that the films are this whole film of about 14 minutes has 3 parts. The 2 parts will be projected on 2 sides of 8x3 screens, 8x3 models, which you see on the left. And the middle one, of course, is a standard film to complement and supplement what happens. I have seen the promos of this. And what happens is on this white models, they are so precisely projected that you feel a 3D way of the circulatory system, the heart, and so on and so forth. I'm waiting for the final product, which should be ready in a month's time. Other models, this is the structure of soil at various places, useful for studying. And I think we should shift to physics. There's a magic in it, and we are all physicists. I mean, many of us are physicists. Physics is easy many times. So let me go ahead. And the interesting or complex physics starts some in the school syllabi. I must mention this, that in the 4th, 5th, 6th standard, a great portion of science is life science, environmental science, nature, and so on and so forth. And slowly physics gets introduced because it is also accompanied by a relevant mathematics. Let's see. This is the first model that I'm showing you. This is currently with us as well as in Chandrapur. It depicts the transverse and longitudinal waves. But this is not a standard model in the sense that you sit on a bicycle, you also have fun, and we can actually demonstrate by putting a ball, which you do not see here, that the energy is transmitted perpendicular to the motion of the particles. So a short, see both waves, longitudinal and transport. People enjoy it. This is very nice. We first showing it and then showing how energy transfer takes place, and then demonstrating that the particles go up and down, but the motion of the energy is matter also is perpendicular. On the left, there is of course a longitudinal one, the compression one. Next one is a actually in practice a mesmerizing demonstration of synchronized pendulums. Pendulums are there, single pendulum, simple pendulum, that is where people begin. What you see is about 25 steel ball pendulums arranged with different lengths in a linear fashion. The lengths are different, and you all move them together and see what happens. The people who actually see this, so starts with some nodes, then change of nodes, then chaotic motion, then localized periodic motion, and so on and so forth. This can go on and on for at least 3-4 minutes if you observe it. And these are not coupled, these are uncoupled, but they are synchronized. They are synchronized because of the way lengths have been arranged in a decreasing fashion from one end to other one. Wonderful. I mean, we all enjoy this exhibit. You see the structure there on the top, because this is to be placed outside, and Chandrapur, where we have placed this, is too hot. We can't have it open way. Standard Gaussian distribution, no statistics so far, but let's see what happens. It's a simple, you call it a random walk or a drunkard problem, normal distribution or Gaussian distribution. You will see a simple one, you see what happens. There are balls. Now the balls will get down one by one, and see the distribution of balls at the bottom. We just have a probability of going left or right equal one all the way. So wonderful. This is of course well known, people have done it. But at this stage, it is better to have it large size model of that. We can bias this later on and do few more things which we plan to do. That's our Gaussian distribution. This on the right, you see it's a simple demonstration of force per unit area, that is pressure. Sharp nails on the right, densely packed properly, so that the pressure force relationship is not too bad. You can actually sleep on it, you can walk on it. And on the left, the one who is going to walk is an almost semi-literate worker who has actually, he must have constructed this, and he comes and walks. This is a day. This is again established at Chandrapur. He just comes and straight walks. Yes, now the nails start. The nails are depicted on the right. So you can walk very easily. Not very easy. Don't run, walk, and then it should be all right. You can actually sleep on this without any problem. That's very nice. Force per unit area. This is another one. This is a kind of entertainment come demonstration that how do you produce electricity. We have a few more of them. So the left hand side is a skeleton, of course. You can also move, but that's fun. And because of motion, people enjoy this. So obviously there should be some fun somewhere. That is the fun that we have. So students actually go sit on it and really enjoy doing this. Then let's come to electrostatics, magnetism, and induction. There are very many things here. This is a beautiful model of something, a train, if you like. This was done by our artist, Renuka. The physics part is there at two places. You will see it in the movie, the next one. The rest is a demonstration. The rest is an art. At two places, you will see a direct demonstration. If you think for a while, you can connect it to the standard law that a current carrying coil gives a magnetic field, which is axial. A current carrying coil, of course, gives a magnetic field, which is axial. And that is used here, and see how. On the left, there is a coil, which is actually a copper coil but coated. On the right also, there is the other corner is a coil. And this is our magician. We will show some more tricks. That's a magnet. It's a standard YouTube demonstration, but we have just made it different. The magnet, and on the two sides there are magnets on two sides of the battery. You can think about the physics. This is really enjoyable. Similar, watch what happens when the magnet gets dropped in glass, which is the first one, and the metal, which are the other two ones. Fast, direct, no, and watch what happens. It takes time. We all know the physics of it, but it's better this way. What induction means and how Lenz's law, the negative sign, operates. One more demonstration on that. That's a magnetic brake, again an inductive brake. So see what happens. There's a magnet, this is a permanent magnet, and there's an aluminum rotating disc. It's not touching it, obviously. It's at a distance. So it induces current which opposes the motion. Usual, but better to show this and few more demonstrations on that. That's a levitation, again the same principle. All this is made. Again, aluminum, copper wire, and a high magnetic current, typically 4 amperes, 5 amperes, 3 amperes, and there's nothing magnetic here, in the sense it's a nice aluminum sheet and standard copper coil and an AC current, not DC. This is another magic, as we say, and there's a magician there. See what happens. Similar principle, the coil, no touching, the light, it lights up. This is being used in practice nowadays. Induction cooker uses heat and contactless charging. You can see it's not, there's no contact. All right. One more, aluminum discs floating. Put another one, still floating, and so on and so forth. In fact, it becomes stronger and stronger, so it will float. Same principle again. Similar, how to generate electricity, the usual one. I think I will go ahead and skip that. Electrostatics. This is Wilmer's machine on the left and Van de Graaff generator on the right. And let's see what Van de Graaff generator will do in a moment. See on the top, it's put on, the charges accumulate, they go to the top, and of course, electrostatic repulsion. You can actually carry out about half an hour worth of experiments on that to tell students how these things operate. A simple, this is purchased, it's available on Amazon or whatever. And these are just two parabolic reflectors and an image being projected. Yeah, see the image there on the top, very beautifully placed, just the principle of parabolic reflector. And we say catch the frog. Obviously you can't catch it. Right. Now this part is fine. What I'm not showing you is if you shoot a laser beam on that, usual laser that you can buy outside for whatever, 50, 60 rupees, then it actually gets reflected the way you will get a reflection when the real object is there. That's a surprise, in the sense that this is an image that we know, but a laser light will get reflected from that image exactly the way it gets reflected from a real object. Think about the physics of that. We discuss it sometimes. concave and convex lenses in the same setup. It's a very simple one too. It's constructed. You just blow it and you just take it away, and that's fun. These plates are well known. Sheldon's, whatever the pronunciation is. On the left and on the right, I will show you the right one video. On the left, you actually see the patterns. These plates are kept on a loudspeaker, and the speaker is fed with wave generator, that is the signal generator with various frequencies and intensity that we have. And then on the right, the plate is first filled with sprinkled with the light somewhere. See what happens if I start giving vibrations. See what happens. Slowly pattern is developing. The plate is vibrating. This is a low frequency vibration to begin with, and slowly you will see the nodal structure, in the sense the patterns where the vibrations are nil. These are actually atomic vibrations, mind you, where they don't vibrate up and down. The powder accumulates. You can actually discuss number of things with this, not only the vibrational mode, but also the, if you like, the wave functions, excited states, and so on and so forth. Pattern changes. This is a resonant pattern that you can obtain. You are actually tuning it to the eigen states of the system, for those who want to know more about it. Very nice, easily available. There's a number of demonstrations of this, but discuss physics of that is very nice. A slight asymmetry there, you see that, but it can be beautifully similar. These are really high energy. This is just fun. But more than fun, it's not very easy to apart from energy and angular momentum conservation. It's not easy to describe the motion in terms of equations. Euler's disk, people really enjoyed. That's a Stirling engine. It's a heat engine. It's made transparent. On the left bottom, you will see the heater, standard one, and you will see the engine. One aspects of motor, expansion, gas, and thermodynamics. Some more models. I suppose I have models on the right, which is actually a four-stroke engine. This is transparent. So when the engine starts, you can actually see every aspect of what happens during the four strokes. A resonant tube to explain resonances, the sound visualization by reflections. This is interesting. I think I will just show it's a shielding, electromagnetic shielding. I think it should work. But yes, see what happens again. Our really so radio is on. Yes, inside. Gone. No sound. And this is interesting. Without touching, he is putting it inside. And the inductive effect is very clear. Wonderful. Simple. You don't, most inexpensive one. Some more models on the left, you will see a one leg chair, one leg only. We demonstrate vortices. These are our outdoor. We have about 40 outdoor exhibits where students can play with it. It's an Archimedes screw on the right. You can lift water. On the left, demonstration of a vortex. Angular momentum conservation, that's Rohit. It's for children, but I think he's playing with it. He likes it. Parabolic reflector. That's a demonstration you will see again. That's it. It's resting on the beak. The big model is on the right hand side. That's an outdoor model. On the left hand side is 3D printed. We said we have 3D printed. We actually conduct classes for students, and they send us STL files and we print it. This is done by us, of course, but that's a 3D printed model of center of gravity demonstration. So supported on a beak. This is designed by design. This is, let's have fun. On the left, I have two couple pendulum, standard couple pendulum. The two people are sitting. On the right, you will see what happens. Very interesting. Watch the motion on the right. Transmitted, transferred to left. The right one stops, and so on and so forth. That's a couple pendulum.
तो उजवीकडचा थांबला जवळ एक सायकल आहे ती, मग हा थांबेल.
Actually, for those who know physics, I mean, we used to put this, Ajit will agree with me, a solution of this by writing the Lagrangian or whatever in the MSc first or second class for probably 6-7 marks. But that was very dry. I thought showing this and then asking them to solve the equations would be much better. All right, pulleys, you can lift yourself, one man, about 150 kgs by use of pulleys. All right, this was the glimpses of what we have, and probably what we have shown you is a third of what we have. Obviously, time constraint. Hobby workshop. We thought we must develop workshop. That's a 3D printer on the left that you see a demonstration. Something getting printed. Students are, as I said, not only allowed, but they design using some public domain software. And then on the left, on the right, you see already public, we have printed the stuff, and the actual picture on the seats, the Craft 2500. That's the 3D printer that we have. It has, at a time, you can have 2 different colors only. And going for an expenses, this is by divide by 0. That's a machine I think I'm going to show you. This is something special. We have 5 or 6 of them. These are tabletop, very suitable for even school children of the age maybe 13, 14 plus, with some, of course, safety measures and experts guidance. But this is very nice. These are German made, and I'll show you what they can do. One of them, I think it was a demonstration. Yes. Cutter. You can change the blade and cut anything. The simplest one. Oh, right. That's a good trick you can train students to do that, and they can also implement their materials. This is one. I will show the rest of the set. There is a heat-based cutter. There's a lathe machine which you see in the front at the bottom. That's, I think, a metal. No, the one at the top is a metal lathe. The one at the bottom, I think, is a wood lathe. Then on the right, a milling machine and engraving machine, and that's a very interesting machine. You by hand, you draw something, and then it gets engraved on the top. We of course have standard tools, soldering rod, electronics workshop. I think it is there, and these are designer games. Over a period of so many years, we have designed card games and other kinds of games which are useful while teaching a variety of aspects of whatever you want to do. So far, so good. Now, what activities? So this is where I said human heart, the flow, even at the early age, can be demonstrated as a participatory collective activity. Let's see what this is huge. As you see, the size that we have printed out and kept is huge. It's probably 8-10 feet. And the students are asked to go through the blood, the flow of blood. So there are valves. There are 4 compartments and exactly the way blood flows, it is mimicked, and students enjoy it at the end of their workshops or whatever. Other workshops? Oh, that's the liquid nitrogen demonstration. We occasionally, when we get liquid nitrogen, we demonstrate the effect of liquid nitrogen. And students enjoy that. It is shown. On the left, the electronics section, we have a kits. Each that we have a dozen kits, each having probably 20 components, and so 250 components consisting of triodes, diodes, resistors, sensors, and so on and so forth, speakers. So you will see a demonstration that students have built on the left. So we teach, that is just logic. You pick up the correct components and they have been designed. This is what we purchased. This is a nice, easy connect. A company which is a startup in Pune, which has really done a good job according to me. You see what is now I'm going to show. A light will so the way this happens is that we have the kits, we get the students, we tell them what are the components available, and collectively they develop the logic of the light, which of course starts with the sound, which you clap, then what happens, then there is a sensor, and so on and so forth. Within an hour or two, students, not only this, but there are dozens of other things that they do. There are two kinds of kits that we have. The one is purely electronic. The other one is called Plasmo, which is also a startup in Pune, and they have wonderfully developed a sensor based kits, which are computer controlled. So they have a simple language. You design your logic using the commands which they have given. For example, you can say that the motor, there is a motor, there are couple of motors, couple of sensors, and so on and so forth. So you can make the motor go up, that is front and back, and stop when the light is red, and so on and so forth, whatever the logic is. They actually design it on a system, test it on a system, and then in practice, they have a tabletop where all the actual hardware is there and it works. They really get excited. It's about 2 days workshop, and we have conducted, and we really enjoy it. More workshops, summer workshops, art, outdoor activities, just photographs of what we have, what we do. You even see me, I think, on the left-hand side, maybe teaching non-physics there. And Harshada is there, and so on and so forth. There are outdoor activities. Pune University is endowed with beautiful, the picture on the left is actually on the campus. Those who know the campus will know them. But we also take them out. This is something I want to mention specifically because all the workshops so far I mentioned were for school children, either girls. The workshop that we conducted a couple of times, and participation was pretty overwhelming, is for Swachha workers, the workers which clean our streets. Mostly women between age of 40 to 50, 55, semi-literate at best. After working for 7 hours a day, they would come to us for a 2-hour workshop, which was tough on them, but they really enjoyed it. So you see the workshop, parts of the workshop where our body is taught, And most of these workers had a backache problem for obvious reasons. So a lot of that, and also problem at digestion. You'll be surprised what kind of problems they face. I mean, they don't get toilets for 6 hours. That's the state of affairs in Pune. On the right, that day when we conducted a workshop, I think Grahan was there, eclipse, and they all have superstition about eclipse. So we actually demonstrated participatory approach, how eclipse is formed, and this we continued for some time, and then there were difficulties, pandemic and so on and so forth. But this is some experience which is revealing, and these kinds of workshops we continue to do. Sky watching in collaboration with Ayuka. This is, you can see in the middle on the left, our Vice Chancellor. At that day, I mean, we didn't know what the response would be. This is huge, and we had to call 3 or 4 security people to organize. And Vice Chancellor is watching through the telescope. Science Day celebrations, we get, of course, 1,000 people a day. We can't manage that. Khula Asman is a NGO which works with science and arts. That is, the themes are many times based on science. Paintings, we have competitions, paintings, one-act play, essay writing, usual one, with Rajiv Gandhi and Khula Asman both supporting it. We visit outside places also, many. We also conducted an interesting workshop at schools in Anandvan schools outside Pune at many places. A few of them were actually sponsored by Leela Poonawalla Foundation. In fact, Leela Poonawalla Foundation, I am mentioning it because they consistently, so far we were running for 4 years, sponsored 40 to 60 girl students only for a 3-day workshop throughout the year. And we must have sort of trained with their sponsorship at least 1,000 plus, even more girls, only girl students, and coming from rural area, mostly rural area or low income group. And it was also a very nice experience. It stopped because of the pandemic, otherwise it would have continued. Visits, of course, Padma Shri Arvind Gupta was with Ayuka, is on the campus, and we used to visit him, and he used to visit us, and that was very nice. And his website and what he did is very well known, and we, of course, use them freely. The governor visits us, and the MLA came once just for fun. And many physicists, scientists, when they come, we ask them to visit. Continue with many such workshops from outside people also. We take study tours, Tamini Ghat, which is nearby, Sipna Forest, which is also nearby, and so on and so forth. On campus, of course, we have CDAC, Alice Garden, our own botany and zoology departments. The pond visit is there at the center, and this could be a part of our workshops also. That's probably the end of it. And I must mention the one which I have not mentioned and kept the end is Dr. Dilip Kanhere. It's usually customary to acknowledge your wife for inspirational and constant guidance throughout, etc. But it is not the case this time. She actually participated, being an environmental science PhD, she is interested. So right from the day one, she has participated, guided me, said many things which were very valuable, and gone through very scrupulously many of the life science exhibits. And so I must thank her. And she continues, of course, to support this activity to the best extent. Thank you very much. I think I might have missed something here and there, but that's okay. I will get another chance sometimes to do this. Please come visit us, participate. We invite people, come up with their own ideas. We support it. participate in our activities in teaching, developing, whatever way you like. We have an email, we have a website. Website has over few hundred videos. In fact, our YouTube has, I think, 200-300 videos, starting with fifth standard all the way, and other things also. We collaborated, I must say, with MKCL in developing many, I think 20 per standard videos, which were aired on, so about 100 videos maybe aired on Sahyadri, in Marathi, of course, that time. We also have a set of videos by Dr. Agashe, a very popular and very clear teacher, maths teacher. I was about to say the maths is something which we are somewhat less, but Dr. Agashe was in the school, wonderful lectures in Marathi, and they are available from 5th to whatever standard all the way. And they are to learn mathematics at that age. I think that's wonderful, and I've not seen such a clear, entertaining come clarity having lectures in Professor Agashe's lectures. So contribute. Thank you very much. And I thank the organizers, Sanajit, again for giving me this opportunity to say what we have been doing with the help of university. University funded us very well with the help of my colleagues. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. So we have opened the chat box for questions. So if anyone has any questions, they can type in the chat box. So thank you so much, sir. This was a super interesting session. Thank you for this virtual tour to the Science Center which you gave us, and it was really very wonderful. Thank you for pursuing your idea of the Science Center, and now it is at place in Pune University. And I hope more people, teachers and students, etc., will get benefited from the Science Center, and it will soon be on the map of Pune. When anybody visits Pune, they should visit the Science Center, which is there in university. So thank you so much. We will be taking question and answers. Ajit sir, would you like to say something? Sir, you are.
It's been a very fine experience to listen to Professor Dilip Kanhere, and the vast range of models that they had and the work that they have done is really very admirable. And I believe that it should reach far and wide. They're already doing it through their films and videos and other programs, but it really needs to go far and wide because it is reproducible, meaning that so many universities could be inspired from their attempts. And I'd be very happy to circulate this news about this center to all the universities that we are working with through PKC as well as through IUCA, and give it much greater exposure. And I would also like to say that we are setting up a number of collaborations with the University Science Center, that between the PKC and the Science Center, and we hope that this will go much further and lead to a lot of productive working together. That's all that I say. Thank you very much, Professor Kanhere.
Thank you, Ajit.
So we have a question from Prajakta Jadhav. She's asking that please arrange a workshop to train new people coming into this field.
Indeed, yes. I mean, as Ajit just now said, this is something on the cards, in fact, immediately on the cards. And yes, Prajakta will certainly do it as soon as we are slightly better off on this pandemic business within less than a month or so. Hopefully within a month is summer, we'll do something. Definitely, yes.
So we have one more question, basically question, not a question as such, but a comment. It was a very inspiring talk by Professor Kanhere, and it is a learning experience for all mentors who can build such science park in their own campus. I just wanted to ask Professor Kanhere to add little more chemistry, which will help to bridge many scientific knowledge gaps. This is said by Professor Nath, who is from MIE SPPU Doha, Qatar campus.
Yes, Professor Na, thank you very much. We have been weak on 2 counts. One is mathematics, which is taken care of, and the second is chemistry. And I can tell you, Nath, without going into details, why we are weak in chemistry. Chemistry requires wet laboratory, in incoming water facility and outgoing water facility. Let me rest without saying anything more, that so far we were unable to get this facility easily where I am currently, you know where I am. But now that we are shifting to the new place, yes, indeed, chemistry will be the priority. We have already planned for it. Yes, thanks, Nath. And yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Thank you so much. So we have a lot of messages over here, sir, that saying that it was a very interesting session, etc. I would like to mention that many of the participants today were teachers who are from Zilla Parishad schools, and I would like to mention to them that soon we will be, having some workshops kind of a thing which you are asking in the chat box with the Science Center. Pune Knowledge Cluster and Science Center will be soon, collaborating for doing workshops, etc. for teachers. So yes, thank you so much for attending, all the participants on behalf of Pune Knowledge Cluster and Indian Academy of Sciences. I thank everyone for attending today's talk, and thank you so much, Professor Kanhere, again for a wonderful talk.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Yes, sir. We shall close now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So it's done.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.